Upon moving into their new apartment, a couple becomes engrossed in observing the activities of their neighbors across the street. However, the situation is not as straightforward as it initially appears. Hello everyone, welcome back to Revived. Today, we will be discussing the 2021 thriller film, The Voyeurs. Before we begin, please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up, leaving a comment, and subscribing to our channel if you enjoy our analysis. Additionally, please note that this video contains spoilers, so proceed with caution. The movie begins by introducing a young couple, Pippa and Thomas, who are thrilled to have moved into their first apartment together in Montreal. After finalizing the lease agreement, they have a conversation about their future, and Pippa inquires about having children. Although Thomas is initially concerned, Pippa reveals that she wants to wait at least 4 years before starting a family, which puts his mind at ease. As they settle into their new home, they discover that their windows face directly into the apartment across the street, where a man with a professional photography studio is taking pictures of a woman. Intrigued, Pippa and Thomas observe as the couple has a sexual encounter with their curtains wide open. However, upon Pippa's insistence, they eventually stop watching and give their neighbors some privacy. They playfully refer to them as Margot and Brent. Later, Pippa attempts to initiate intimacy with Thomas, but he falls asleep early, leaving her unsatisfied. Meanwhile, Pippa's boss at L'Optique gives her a bird feeder as a housewarming gift, and she impulsively purchases a pair of binoculars from a nearby store so that she and Thomas can continue to observe the couple across the street. They frequently witness Brent engaging in sexual activities with several models while Margot is absent. Pippa takes the lead and reenacts what she observed her neighbor doing with a promiscuous model while using binoculars, alongside Thomas. However, Thomas struggles to keep up and finishes prematurely, leaving Pippa feeling frustrated. The following day, Pippa, Thomas, Pippa's co-worker and friend Ari, and Thomas' sister Joni have lunch together. They discuss their neighbors and speculate whether Brent is cheating on Margot or if they are involved in an open relationship or swinging. Pippa expresses her interest in finding out what the neighbors are saying, and Joni reveals that Thomas knows a technique for eavesdropping on conversations in another room using a laser pointer. The process involves placing a mirror in the other room, pointed towards their apartment window, to reflect the laser beam back to them. Pippa and Thomas attend a Halloween costume party hosted by Brent and Margot, and sneak in by posing as guests. While blending in with the crowd, Pippa plants a small mirror in the apartment, which enables her and Thomas to listen in on their conversations. They are disturbed to hear Margot confronting Brent about his infidelity. In a fit of rage, Brent physically attacks Margot, breaking her glasses and convincing her that her suspicions are unfounded and that she is merely looking for an excuse to end their marriage. The day after, Margot pays a visit to L'Optique, and we discover that her real name is Julia. Pippa conducts an eye exam on her, and Julia orders a trendy pair of glasses based on Pippa's recommendation. Before leaving, Julia invites Pippa for a cup of coffee sometime. Pippa shares this news with Thomas when she returns home and expresses her desire to warn Julia about Brent's extramarital affair. However, Thomas advises her to stop meddling in their neighbors' affairs. Later, Pippa and Julia meet at a spa, where Julia reveals that her husband, Sebastian or Seb, is a renowned photographer. She proposes introducing him to Pippa at some point. Pippa becomes fixated on Seb and continues to spy on him in secret, observing him engage in a threesome and dispose of the used condom afterward. Throughout the night, Pippa sneaks out of bed to check if her neighbor is awake. She eventually figures out how to access Julia and Seb's wireless printer, which she uses to anonymously reveal Seb's unfaithfulness to Julia, citing the condom as evidence. Thomas confronts Pippa angrily about her intense interest in Julia and Seb's lives. Thomas and Pippa witness Julia pick up a knife, causing them to fear they will witness a murder, but Julia retreats at the last moment. Thomas becomes furious with Pippa, takes her binoculars, and smashes them into the ground. The following morning, Pippa apologizes to Thomas and pledges to stop spying on the neighbors. However, they later witness Seb discovering Julia's body in the bathroom, apparently having slit her own throat. Thomas blames Pippa for Julia's demise, claiming that her preoccupation with their neighbor's relationship prevented her from listening to him. He ends their relationship and leaves. Despite her broken heart, Pippa continues to observe Seb and envision comforting the alluring and faithful man. One evening, she tails him to a nearby bar. Seb notices Pippa and joins her at the bar, discussing how he can make himself happy. He expresses his belief that it's odd for couples in a relationship to use a vibrator, but it's deemed unacceptable when one of them sleeps with someone else. He asked her to come to his apartment to take her photograph, which she agreed to. On their way back, he grabbed his keys from outside the door. During the photo shoot, Seb managed to convince Pippa to pose nude, and they had sex. Meanwhile, Thomas returned to the apartment, drank a beverage, and saw Pippa and Seb having sex through binoculars. The following day, Pippa found Thomas dead in their apartment, apparently having hanged himself after witnessing Pippa cheating on him. Pippa confessed everything to Ari, who reassured her that it wasn't her fault. They went to Seb's exhibition, which turned out to be a collaboration with Julia, who faked her death. The exhibition featured the nude photo Seb took of Pippa, with Pippa and Thomas as the subjects. They reveal that they are the owners of the apartment rented by Pippa and Thomas, who had given consent to be photographed as per the lease agreement. Seb and Julia were aware of being monitored and were also aware of the planted microphone and Thomas's suicide, which were photographed and displayed in the exhibition. Pippa, distressed by this revelation, leaves in tears and breaks into Seb's apartment, where she discovers a hidden studio containing all the photographs taken by her neighbors. She destroys the studio and decides to move out of the apartment. As she leaves, she notices dead birds and takes the bird feeder, looking across the street to see Julia's smirk. Seb and Julia give an interview after the exhibition, stating that tenants are responsible for reading and understanding the terms and conditions of their lease agreement. Julia appears content with the outcome, but Seb seems visibly remorseful and upset with the situation's consequences. During the interview, Seb and Julia reveal that their voyeuristic activities turned into a lucrative venture and gained worldwide attention. Upon returning home, they discover a congratulatory bottle of wine left by their door, but then receive a message from Pippa claiming that she knows they killed Thomas and did not commit suicide. They chase after Pippa, who leads them to L'Optique, where she confronts them and accuses Julia of poisoning Thomas's drink and staging his suicide. Pip also reveals that she spiked their wine, causing Julia and Seb to pass out. Pippa then uses a LASIK machine to burn their corneas, rendering them both blind. Sometime later, a new couple moves into Pippa and Thomas's old apartment and discovers they can see into the neighbor's apartment. Seb and Julia are shown to be blind, and Pippa watches them from the rooftop before leaving her binoculars behind, having avenged what was done to her and Thomas. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and ring the notification bell.